last time the U.S. Open had an All-American final was in 1990. Sampras and Agassi. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to CBS Sports' continuing coverage of the 1995 U.S. Open. What a beautiful day in New York City. We're glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon. Well, yesterday we had our dream women's matchup. Monica Seles and Steffi Graf, the #1 and #2 players here. Here we have our dream men's matchup. The #1 and 2 players here between Pete and Andre. And the winner today will really have the bragging rights for 1995 and will indeed be the #1 player in the world for this year. Look around the stadium, folks. It's sold out. As I said earlier, there is electricity in the air. Sort of the beginning of fall. There's a fall feeling here. It's a little cooler than usual. And all morning long, people have filed in here. And they're all talking about those two guys right there, Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. Agassi hit some balls earlier today. Sampras remained in the referee's room, watched a little television, relaxing, thinking about this match. The two have said that they're the only two people who really didn't talk about this match, but we know, well, we think we know, that they were thinking about it. Not only is this a dream matchup, we have a dream matchup of announcers. And Tim Ryan, I don't know who's more excited, these two or John McEnroe.
Thank you, Patrick. Great to be with you again and all of the tennis fans looking in around the country. We've got a matchup that is a rematch. Hard to remember. For some, I'm sure that it was 5 years ago these same two players met each other for the U.S. Open Championship. Andre Agassi looked a little bit different then. Long locks. He was 20 years of age. He was the phenom. A lesser-known Pete Sampras at age 19, look at that baby face, won his first U.S. Open title. Agassi won Wimbledon in 1992, but his career took a bit of a turn down. He had problems with the wrist, conditioning, other things that kind of slowed down his fast track. Sampras continued to march on with success. I'm joined, of course, by John McEnroe, Mary Carrillo, and Mary, a great contrast in styles in this championship matchup, 1 against 2, but have you ever seen a better athlete on the tennis court than Pete Sampras?
I don't really think I have, and in fact, Pete Sampras, his first coach, the guy who discovered him at age 9, Dr. Pete Fisher, had wondered before he ever met Pete, what it would be like if a pure natural jock, a Willie Mays, played tennis instead of baseball. And in fact, until Pete won his first major here 5 years ago against Andre Agassi, he wondered if maybe he'd steered his guy in the wrong direction. But I don't think he has. I mean, baseball has Ken Griffey Jr. Michael Jordan is there for basketball. We've got Pete in our sport, and he can do anything. He is a glorious athlete, and when he's in full swing, there is nothing prettier to watch than Pete Sampras playing ball. His biggest weapon, of course, is his serve, but he backs it up at the net. He can do a little bit of everything, in fact. And he can just attack you from everywhere. It would take just a little bit of a slip for someone like Andre Agassi to beat Pete. But if Pete is playing his very best ball, I think he's going to win his 3rd U.S. Open title today.
Well, John McEnroe, Andre Agassi is probably not the greatest looking athlete out there, and yet he's very much one.
According to you. But
well, no, but I'm talking about his physical movement and so on, but the quickness and the hand speed and the striking ability, he is some kind of athlete.
Well, he's got the greatest return to serve ever, maybe with Jimmy Connors. It's been a long year for Andre. Last year here, 20 in the world. No pressures. Now all of a sudden, #1 player in January, wins the Australian Open. He's had a long, long year, a very emotional one. He's very fatigued mentally and physically. He said to me before the match, though, I got a lot left. We saw the Pete Sampras serve a little bit earlier. Obviously, it's a big serve against a big returner. Andre Agassi got the greatest return to serve, along with, as I mentioned, Jimmy Connors that I've ever seen. This is the type of shots he's got to make, like he did the last game against Boris Becker. Becker with the big serve. Agassi played an amazing game at 4-5 in the 4th set to win this match, and also the attitude he showed here right at the end.
And Pete, if you're watching, I'm coming.
And I personally just think that's great for tennis. I mean, here it is. This is, like Pat said, the match for #1, all the marbles. I propose whoever wins this match gets to take the rest of the year off.
Well, he is here. So's Pete. It's coming up. 1 against 2 for all the marbles at the U.S. Open in a moment. These guys are not only 1 against 2, they're all even, head-to-head, 8 and 8. But one thing should be noted. 3 out of the last 4 decisions have gone to Andre Agassi.
That the last time they played a couple weeks ago at the Canadian Open final in Montreal, windy conditions just like this, and Sampras really had problems with his high backhands. I'm sure Agassi remembers that.
Well, he'll also remember, Pete will remember, that match, he had a couple tough matches coming into that final. He looked physically spent. I'd say Agassi a little bit more spent physically coming into this match. I don't know about these guys, but I'm nervous and excited. This is it.
We noticed that, as a matter of fact.
John, I have to ask you, because in 1984, you had to play late into the evening against Jimmy Connors, turned him back in 5, and then the next day came out and beat Ivan Lendl. Is it just adrenaline that works for you on this day?
I think so. And also, let's face it, Lendl had played a 7-6 in the 5th, and Sampras didn't have an easy match yesterday. Courier made him sweat physically and emotionally. It was a tough match for both players. I don't think that will be, in this case, a major factor today.
4 sets for Sampras over Courier earlier in the day, starting at 11. This man, Andre Agassi, left the court at 8:18. Of course, had to do the press conference, television interviews, etc. And we're ready to go. Pete Sampras has the first serve.
15
He always goes for a huge first serve to start off a match to declare himself, and that one had a little bit of heat on it. 122.
Because of these drier conditions, more humid yesterday, that ball's going to be going through the air a little bit faster now. That Sampras serve is going to seem like a bomb early in the match. And also the wind we mentioned is going to make it even tougher to pick up. An easy first game for Pete Sampras. 3 quick first serves. If he can serve over 50%, which is unlike him, if he can get into the 60s, it'll be awful tough for Agassi to win today. I doubt we'll see that happening, but he'd sure like to have a good day.
Sampras was 50% on first serve against Jim Courier in yesterday's semifinal.
49 for the whole tournament.
What more can the U.S. Open ask for? I mean, this is what it's all about. You play the whole year. There are some tournaments after this one, but this is it. This is going to determine who's #1 for the year. Let the winner play when he feels like playing, because they've had a long, long road. You know, I'm sure they'd be up to play the Davis Cup in a couple weeks.
Sampras wins the first game for the championship. Andre Agassi serving. Had Love won his first service game.
Well, that'll just about do it for Sampras. He comes in on the first point, gets past. Probably won't see that for another 3 or 4 sets.
His chip backhand sometimes sits up.
But that wind really held that ball up. Easy pass there for Agassi. It's really kicking at the moment.
Andre Agassi defending his championship. He's currently ranked #1, 25 years of age, from Las Vegas. 71-7 now in 1995.
Almost 2 million already. Unbelievable year for Andre. 7 titles already. Going for 5 in a row on hard courts. He had the Australian. Not a bad year on this surface. Also won Key Biscayne. We saw that the last game against Boris Becker. We see his road to the final. Easy first round. Krejcir gave him a handful in the second. Killed Edberg in the third. Jared Palmer easily. Quarter, bit of a hiccup there, and Becker a struggle all the way through.
Love game for Agassi, even at 1, first set.